Today we are going to discuss about the topic of journalism. Start with their introduction. Journalism, the collection, preparation and distribution of news and related commentary and feature materials through such print and electronic media as newspapers, magazines, books, blogs, webcasts, podcasts, social networking, social media sites, and emails, as well as through radio, motion pictures, etc. Basically, journalism is the activity of gathering, assessing, creating, and presenting news and information. The purpose of journalism is thus to provide citizens with the information they need to make the best possible decisions about their lives, their communities, their societies, and their governments. So, what is journalism? In the journalism, it is a form of writing that tells people about things that really happened but might not have been known already. Journalism is writing newspapers and magazines and writing and posting stories on news websites. It's all about letting the world know about what is going on in the world. Journalism is important because it gives current and relevant information and news to the public. I'm telling you that Joseph Pulitzer is the father of journalism. Basically, in the journalism, nowadays, the media plays a vital role in a democratic society. Their influence on forming a public opinion is very great. Journalism is for the voice of voiceless, expressing opinions of all those in our society. It's like a bridge between the authorities and the people. Being a journalist fulfills a need to live life with a curious nature, to affect the public good, to disseminate information, and to shape the public perception to key people, places, things, and events. Basically, what is a journalism? The earliest non journalistic product was a news sheet circulated in ancient Rome. It was published early and hung in prominent places in China during the Tang dynasty. A court circular called a Bao or report was issued to government official. This gazette appeared in various forms and under various names, more or less continuity. To the end of the Qing dynasty in 1911, the first regular published newspaper appeared in German cities in and about 1609. So journalism is a kind of profession in the 20th century was marked by a growing sense of professionalism. There were four important factors in this trend. First is the increasing organization of working journalists, specialized education for journalism, a growing literature dealing with the history, problems, and techniques of mass communication, and an increasing sense of social responsibility on the part of the journalist. An organization of journalists began as early as 1883 with the foundation of England's Chartered Institution of Journalists. Like the American Newspaper Guild, organized in 1933, and the Federation Nationale de la Presse Française. The institute functioned as both a trade union and a professional organization. Concern for the social responsibilities in journalism was largely a product of the late 19th century and 20th century. The earliest newspapers and journals were generally violently partisan in politics and considered that the fulfillment of their social responsibility and their own party's position and denouncing that of the opposition. Nowadays, though it may be interesting or even entertaining, the foremost value of news is as a utility to impart the informed. The purpose of journalism is thus to provide citizens with the information they need to make the best possible decisions about their lives, their communities, and so on. Journalism is storytelling with a purpose. The purpose is to provide people with information they need to understand. The first challenges is finding the information that people's need. The second is to make it meaningful, relevant, and engaging. So, what kind of scope of the journalism? Basically, journalism is very important for nowadays to inform us and entertain us and also educate that what is happening in our surrounding. First of all, in today's world, people want to know about the current information regarding politics, sports, weather, entertainment, or so on. It is possible through mass communication. The scope of mass communication increasing day by day. It is the best source to collect the information from all over the world. Mass communication considering the fourth pillar of any state. Journalism, investigation, and analyzing the matters and discuss with experts. In this, we have a two career in the print media and electronic media. In the print media, everything which is printed falls into print media. It includes newspapers, magazines, journals, books, dailies, and tabloids. In another hand, electronic media, the news which is provided through electronic devices is known as the electronic media. It includes radio, television, and the internet. We have some career platforms for the journalist. We have educational institute, newspapers, magazines, advertising agencies, website of publishing, television channels, and radio channels. A journalist must be an all-rounder because he can collect information about sports, entertainment, spiritual, crime, politics, cultural, and so on. They also work in newspaper and magazines. There is a lot of magazines printed in these days on education, sports, political, and also for the career counseling. So first of all, start with the in this a journalist must be a very popular is a storytelling with the purpose. That purpose is to provide people with information. They need to understand the world. The first challenge is finding the information that people need to live all rounder. Start with the audio. So audio journalism is reporting news and information with sound. The emergence of the web as a dominant news medium has freed radio journalism. What we can more properly call audio journalism from those restraints. The advantages of learning and using audio as a reporting tool are legion and it is easy to product. Text, photography, music, and video are all equally eligible for their use. These principles apply to situations in which a journalist has unconditioned access to material regardless of the source. Next, audio video journalism. Audio visual journalism, it is the practice of strategical combining words and images to convey the information. The techniques, methods, etc. of preparing and broadcasting informational, social, political, and other non-fiction subject via news and documentary programs. The news items, programs, etc. that are broadcast. Video journalism is a form of the journalism where the journalist shoots, edits, and often presents his or her own video material. Because video gives the audio pictures to look at rather than simply text to read. It can capture the audience attention more easily and for a longer period of time. Due to a deeper connection to the story, instead of words on a page, there are actual moving images of a news events in video journalism. Next is the print journalism. Print journalism basically kind of the print media publication of variable information through the public media. Although the industry of journalism covers broadcast and print, the following resources specially focus on print media. For broadcast journalism resources, see media and entertainment. Print media is one of the oldest and basic form of mass communication. It includes newspapers, weeklies, magazine, monthlies, and other form of print journals. Print media has the advantages of making a longer impact on the minds of the reader with more in-depth reporting and analysis. The collection and periodic publication or transmission of news through media such as newspaper. Publication issued periodically, usually daily or weekly, to convey information and opinion about current events, early newspaper. I'm giving you an example here of the print journalism, that is magazines, newspapers, flyers, newsletters, scholarly journals, and other materials that are physically printed on paper are the example of the print media. By the time a new story is published and delivered in a print publication, the story may have updated significantly. Next, online journalism. Online journalism, also known as a digital journalism, is a contemporary form of the journalism where editorial content is distributed via the internet. As opposed to publishing via print and broadcast, what constitutes digital journalism is debated by scholars. However, the print product and primary product of journalism, which is news and features on current affairs, is presently solely or in combination of text, audio, video, or some interactive form like news games, dissemination through digital media technology. Some have asserted that a greater degree of the creativity can be exercised with digital journalism when compared to traditional journalism and traditional media. The digital aspect may be central to the journalistic message and remains to some extent with the creative control of the writer, editor, or publisher. In the simply put, online journalism can provide a variety of media and unlike other media, we have to a data searching provides a means to access information enabled in other media. Third, online journalism can provide outlets for the non-traditional means of news and information. I'm giving you an example here that Google Analytics, Instagram, Google Earth, and Robert Reporters. Next, we have a citizen journalism. Citizen journalism, also known as the collaborative media, participatory journalism, democratic journalism, guerrilla journalism, or street journalism, is based upon public citizens playing an active role in the process of collecting, reporting, analyzing, and disseminating news and information. Similarly, citizen journalism as an alternative and activist form of news gathering and exporting that functions outside mainstream media institutions, often as a response to shortcoming in the professional journalistic field that uses similar journalist practice but is driven by the different often and ideas and relies on alternative source of legitimacy than traditional or mainstream journalism. It offers a simple definition when the people formerly known as the audience employ the press tool they have in the possession to inform one another. Similarly, citizen journalism should not be confused with community journalism or civic journalism, both of which are practiced by professional journalists. Collaborative journalism, which is the practice of professional and non professional journalists working together. And social journalism, which denotes a digital publication with a hybrid of professional and non professional journalism. So, what kind of functions of journalism? Basically, in the functions of journalism, we have two local reports, national reports, international reports and news, opinion on news ventures, educate readers, viewers, and listeners, provide entertainment, information, interpretation of news, entertainment, advertising, education function, news function, opinion for motives, guidance. So the press performs a very important role as means of mass communication in the modern world. The press tries to inform its reader objectively about what is happening in their community, country, and the world at large. In this, we have to reading press releases, researching articles, establishing and maintaining contacts, interviewing sources, writing, editing, and submitting copy, attending events, proofreading, verify statements and facts, staying up to date with privacy, contempt, and defamation law, liaising with editors, sub editors, designers, and photographers. We have also some kind of factors and functions, that is political function, economic function, century function, record keeping function, entertainment function, social function, marketplace function, and agenda setting function. In this, we also have to providing information to the audiences. We have to education, guidance, interpret, and entertainment. In the next, we have to inform, educate, interpret, mold opinion, enables, inform, decision making, and agent of change. So, what kind of purpose of journalism? Purpose of journalism basically is thus to provide citizens with the information they need to make the best possible decisions about their lives, their communities, their societies, and the government. Firstly, news reporters are found in newspaper and their purpose is to inform readers of what is happening in the world around them. News reporters have a certain structure that you need to follow. This structure is sometimes called the inverted pyramid. So, first of all, the purpose of journalism, write Bill Koch and Tom Rosenthal in the elements of the journalism, is not defined by technology nor by journalists or the techniques they employ. Rather, the principles and the purpose of journalism are defined by something more basic, the information news plays in the lives of people. Firstly, we have to inform citizenry. Informed citizenry, the primary purpose is that journalism is to ensure a well informed citizen for our social and political structure. In this, our country avoidance of content may work tolerably well in wealthy communities that gives kids access to background knowledge about the world. But this avoidance is devastating for low income students. The resulting achievement gaps between well off and less well off students persist. Next, we have to informed media. Informed media, it is important that it is provide knowledge. We have to inform the media that what kind of problems we have to face and what is surroundings to us and what kind of things we have to do after watching the problems. We have to focus on writing and reading about people's issues, because if we are writing, nobody properly literate and they can easily read about the whole stories. We have to use the easy language. We have to use the normal words and the meaningful words that the illiterate people can easily grab the meaning and educate the problems that they are around happening with the surroundings. We have to promotion of multi-perspective approaches. In this, to encompass all the important viewpoints from people with different values, interest, incomes. Not all peoples have same thinking, their same interest, their same liking, and their same sense of humor. So multi-perspectivism means reporting all ideas that could resolve issues and help problems even if the ideas come from ideologically small group. We have a sociological content. In the sociological content, journalism need to be more sociological, more about understanding and interpreting what underlies experience. Sociology, the surroundings, circumstances, environment, background, setting that determine specificity, clarify the meaning of an event or other occurrence. Social context refers to the specific setting in which social interaction takes place. In other words, the meaning of a particular action or behavior must be understood in relation to the setting and system of what it is a part. Context will determine whether you jump into help or run away in fear. In some, social situations are shaped by contextual factors that affect how you will feel and act. Contextual cues are important for interpreting social situations, yet they have been largely ignored in the world of science. What needs to be done while writing? Reader's interest, accuracy, objectivity, credibility, readability, significance, clarity, context, timeliness, punctuality. Don't try to use high language. Writing in that style while readers reading the visualize their scenes. So we have some types of the journalism. Basically, print journalism, electronic broadcast journalism, digital journalism, and social media journalism. First is the print journalism. We will discuss previously. Basically, print media is that kind of media where is the whole context is based on the writing. Rather, newspaper, magazines, book, brochures, flyers, templates, letters, and so on. Next is the electronic media. Electronic media basically are that kind of media which we can also call a online journalism or a digital journalism too. These also depends upon the electronic newspapers, electronic magazines, text messages, websites, fax, electronic billboards, and so on. So these all kinds of things which helps to attract the peoples towards us while advertising or while news. Next, we have a social media. In the social media, we have allows individuals to keep in touch with friends and extended family. Some people will use various social media applications to network and find career opportunities, contact with people across the globe with linked-minded interest, and share their own thoughts, feelings, and insights online. Why social media is very important nowadays? Social media is important because it allows you to reach, nurture, and engage with your target audience. No matter their location, when a business can use social media to interact with its audience, it can use the social media to target brand awareness, lead sites, and revenue. However, multiple studies have found it a strong link between heavy social media and increased risk for depression, anxiety, loneliness, self-harm, and even suicidal thoughts. Social media may promote the negative experience such as the inadequacy about your life and your experiences. We have some kinds of the modes of journalism. First is the advocacy journalism, yellow journalism, tabloid journalism, and investigative journalism. Basically, advocacy journalism is a genre of journalism that adopts a non-objective viewpoints, usually for some social or political purpose. Some advocacy journalists reject that the traditional ideal of objectivity is possible in practice, either generally or due to the presence of corporate sponsor in advertising. Advocacy is the act of speaking on the behalf of, in support of another person, place, or thing. An example of an advocacy is a non-profit organization that works to help women of domestic abuse who feel too afraid to speak for themselves. Next is the yellow journalism. Yellow journalism and yellow press are American terms for journalism and associated newspapers that present little or no legitimate, well researched news while instead using eye catching headlines for increased sales. Techniques may include exaggeration of news events, scandal, mongering, or sensationalization. Yellow journalism, the use of lurid features and sensationalized news in newspaper publishing to attract readers and increase circulation. The phrase was coined in the 1890s to describe the tactics employed in the furious competition between two New York City newspaper, The World, and The Journal. I'm giving you example here of the yellow journalism, that Spanish-American War. Yellow journalism helped to push Spain and the United States into war in 1898. The main US battleship sank from an explosion. Joseph Pulitzer and William Randolph Hearst published fall article about a plot to sink the ship, nearby increasing tension. Next is the tabloid journalism. Tabloid journalism basically is a popular style of largely sensationalistic journalism, which takes its name from the front, a small sized newspaper. The size become associated with sensationalism, and tabloid journalism replaced the earlier label of yellow journalism and scandal sheets. It is the type of the popular, largely sensationalistic journalism that takes its name is a half-size page of a newspaper or magazine with short, exciting, and often gossip stories. With the help of example, the National Enquirer, lurid or sensational. A size of newspaper page about 14 inches high by 12 inches wide, half the side of a standard page. Next is the investigative journalism. Investigative journalism is a form of journalism in which reports deeply, investigate a single topic of interest, such as serious crime, political corruption, or corporate wrongdoing. An investigative journalist may spend months or years researching and preparing a report. Investigative journalism means the unveiling of matter that are concealed either deliberately by someone in a position of power or accidentally behind a quick mass of facts and circumstances, and the analysis and exposure of all relevant facts to the public. This is the types of journalism, that is advocacy journalism, broadcast journalism, investigative journalism, tabloid journalism, and yellow journalism. So what is advocacy journalism? It deals with writing to advocate particular viewpoints or influence the opinions of the audience. It also describes the use of journalism techniques to promote a specific political or social cause. Next is the broadcast journalism. It is the field of news and journals which are broadcast, or in other words, it is published by electronic methods instead of the older method such as printed newspapers and posters, example radio and television. Next is investigative journalism. It tries to discover information of public interest that someone is trying to hide. It includes serious crimes, political corruption, or corporate wrongdoings. Tabloid journalism. It is a newspaper of small format giving the news in considered form, usually with illustrated, often sensational material. It puts more stress on crime stories, astrology, gossip column about the personal lives of celebrities and sports stars, and junk food news. Yellow journalism, also known as sensationalism, it is writing which emphasizes exaggerated claims or humor. It highlights little or no legitimate, well researched news and instead uses eye catching headlines to sell more newspaper. Online journalism, it is based on the internet transmitted news. It has introduced a fundamentally different culture built in interactivity, fewer rules, and fewer limits. So, parts of the online journalism: mainstream news websites, index and category websites, meta and comment websites, share and discussion websites. Next, we have a characteristics of online journalism. Characteristics of online journalism: basically that kind of journalism: hypertextuality, interactivity, multimediality, immediacy, multimodality, away with words, through knowledge, investigative skills, effective communication skills, professionalism and confidence, persistence and discipline. Ethics are important too. So, what kind of points to be noted? Know your reader. agenda must be only based on reader interest. What makes you stop at the headline? Immersion, structure, tone, voice, opinion, character, personality, and balance. Be unafraid of outrageous statements, but back them up with facts. Obligations of the journalism. First obligation is to tell the truth. First loyalty is to the citizens. Obligations of verifications, independence and neutrality, independent monitor of power. So last, in the conclusion, journalism are one part of mass communication and media studies. Journalism is the practice of investigation and reports of events, issues, and trends to a broad audience in a timely fashion. Journalism also covers cultural aspects of society such as arts and entertainment. The field includes editing, photojournalism, and documentary making. So thank you so much. I hope you clear about the all concept and all meanings of the journalism, their types, their functions, their scope, their characteristics, and their work. So thank you so much.